What's going on, folks? It's Dave. We're back. It's Friday, and guess what? You guessed it. The weekend is here. So for you party animals, get ready for a hell of a week ahead of us. But good news. The gap has been filled. But the real question is, will this gap fill be enough? Dun, dun, dun. Also, apologies. Something weird is going on with my camera right now. So you don't get to see my beautiful face on this Friday. I apologize for that. But nonetheless, we're going to be breaking down AMC, going over the correlations between AMC and the S&P 500, because certainly there's some interesting things nonetheless that we are going to be diving into about that correlation. And then, of course, guys, we're going to look at the options flow using unusual whales for AMC for the S&P 500, and then make a comparison and put everything together and see where AMC is going and truly if this gap fill was enough to start the reversal. That's the big question of today. So let's jump right into it. AMC was down 0.55%, which equates to 10 cents. So literally, guys, pretty flat day for the most part. But a little rocky. A few good things that we want to start with this one-day chart. Volume was 65, close enough to 65 million shares. But to be exact, for everyone who wants the exact number, 64,818,403. So guess what? Volume is starting that slow upward climb at this point, which nonetheless, even if we are slightly down, I still like to see volume increasing back to those levels in the days that we have seen in the past. So that to me is a good thing. RSI, it's just been beaten down, and we continue to stay in that oversold territory. But the good thing, if we look at this one-day chart, is look at this. The sellers are absolutely exhausted. I mean, after we did have that big drop, we've pretty much been in this pretty tight consolidated range between like $17 and $19. I mean, for AMC, a $2 gap is absolutely nothing, not counting the wicks down or the wicks up. But nonetheless, guys, hey, I'll take it. $2 range, it's not bad at all. Now, in yesterday's video, we did talk about this gap fill here. This is from just about like $20 to, just about like 2025 to 2050. In that area, there was just a slight gap down. Well, I think you can see it better over here on the 1 hour. So we'll just jump there. Yeah, you can see this right here. Gap down. Didn't quite fill it on this move up on the 20th yesterday. So that's why we were targeting that gap fill. But nonetheless, guys, we wanted to really fill the gap at the bottom range here. Because why? Well, it was a gap. AMC loves to close the gaps. And honestly, most stocks like to close the gaps as well. But if we look back at January, the January 26th, 27th run-up, well, look after we had that massive run-up, look where we came back down. We came back down to fill this gap before we started to trend higher and higher and higher. So we're not just saying gap fill because, hey, let's target a gap. Where else can we kind of land? No, there's a specific reason behind why we're looking at that gap fill. But nonetheless, guys, I'm not entirely impressed with the overall volume trend that we saw. I mean, like we said and like we have been discussing, we want to see similar volume that we saw back in June when we had this almost 300 million shares traded in a singular day. That's really kind of the start of AMC taking off. But as we kind of see back here, it was a slow ramp up in volume that led to that day. What are we getting now? And this isn't to jack you or to overhype this, but we are starting to see volume slowly tick up. Very slowly, but it's starting to tick up. I mean, looking here, or we'll go from 119, 35 million, 51 million, 64 million. So we're starting that volume increase. And I get it. Yes, it was a negative day, but still seeing volume get higher is what we want to see all in all. Now, 64 million isn't going to really move the needle for me. I typically, what I'm looking for to see that this reversal is on is like 200 million shares traded a day. That's personally what I'm looking at. But nonetheless, guys, we'll jump into the 1 hour chart and go over a few additional things. Well, moving averages still on this decline, but it looks like we held up pretty nicely on the 1 hour today. I mean, we did kind of move a little bit below our gap fill area at $16.22. But what's really interesting is, like I said, AMC was down 0.55% today. And what do we see in the past? Well, when the S&P 500 is down, AMC is usually down like 3 or 4x that. But past 2 days, not APY, SPY, come on now. Past 2 days, what we've been seeing is the SPY has actually been trading much more volatile than AMC, which is certainly something really interesting, because if we look at the SPY here, SPY was down 1.96%. So literally almost 4x what AMC was down today. So the fact that AMC held up very nicely compared to the S&P 500 and other major indices, that's a win for me at least. We got that gap fill, we got that reversal, and things are looking good. And what do we see on the S&P 500 that is just absolutely terrible? Well, volume. We can see on, actually even starting here at 1228 when we first came to that resistance, a general uptrend in volume. But a general uptrend in red selling volume, which is not good to see. And it's why the S&P 500 has been taking an absolute dumper. Now, looking at the technicals too, RSI in the oversold territory at 2642, MACD, these histograms just continue to get deeper and deeper, and it doesn't look pretty for the S&P 500. Now, do I think AMC continues to trade correlated with the S&P 500? Yes, I do. So with that said, let's try to dig out and see where the S&P 500 may be falling in the next couple of days to see if there is a reversal with the SPY or if it just continues to absolutely dump and eat dog shit. So what we were targeting was, if we couldn't hold this support here at $445, we're most likely coming down and filling this gap right here. Now, SPY puts certainly were printing today. Almost down 2%. Yeah, hope you guys made some money on that if you are trading the S&P. Now, nonetheless, if we can't hold this area here at 436, well, it looks like we're probably going to be coming down to the 420s. And if we do come down to this level, well, it's absolutely going to get ugly at this point, because then you have all the moving averages starting to already curl over and start this pretty much decline. That's when you have crossovers, and that's where you just get extremely, extremely bearish. And that's where traders, especially retail traders, start to panic sell and get out of their positions, which causes more volatility, more downside pressure, and like everyone knows, a freaking shitstorm. So that doesn't look pretty. Now, interesting enough, and actually let's go, we're going to compare the two here. Yeah, right here. AMC and the SPY. We're going to break it down on a 5-minute scale here for you folks, because this was really interesting, and this is what I was watching today. So obviously in the morning, same thing happened with the AMC and SPY chart. You get a small push up and you come down. Same time frame, same everything, because we bottomed out here 1025, bottomed out here at, look at that, 1025. But what happens next is certainly interesting. The SPY gets that big push up. AMC slightly gets that push up, but not quite to the high of the day. But look at this. When the SPY starts to dump off, AMC starts to trade pretty flat. So it held up very nicely. And additionally, let's see this right here. We'll say that AMC started to run at like 1 o'clock. Where are we at 1 o'clock here? The SPY continues to dump. So is that the first signs of AMC started to trade inverse of the S&P 500? Well, it's certainly, I would say at least, too early to make that decision right now. We need to see more price action. We need to see more trading. And we certainly need to see these two completely not correlated stocks trade inverse to each other. That, to me, would be the start of, oh shit, something is going on. So that's exactly what I'm looking for. We didn't quite get that today, but still that slight disconnect between AMC and the SPY was something I was incredibly bullish on. Now, enough with the charts, because I don't want to beat this with a dead horse, and we still have the technicals that we want to look into here. So first of all, we're going to go with the AMC options flow. Some actually pretty decent things in the same narrative we've been talking about for the last, what, like 3 days-ish or so. I know that's very vague, but anyways, well, it's puts being sold. That's a very bullish thing because, and specifically actually, these longer expiration puts being sold. It means AMC is not going to $5, as some people say. It means that while we may have not hit the absolute bottom with AMC, that we're absolutely getting close. And I know. I've had people DM me on Twitter, and this shit sucks, let's be honest. No one wants to see our girl Amy down in the dumps, but hey, it's a process. It's going to take time. It's going to be painful. But guess what? In the end, hopefully this is all worth it. So, calls weren't really being printed today. You saw a couple large-scale calls come in today, but that was really it. More of the story, lots of puts are still continuing to be sold. And remember, this is probably going back a couple weeks ago, we saw a major influx of those June 2022 $60 calls being printed. Now, we haven't seen any of those actually being sold yet, which is still a great thing to see. That means those large whales, traders, whatever you want to call them, are still incredibly bullish on AMC. So what I do want to look at is the intraday analyst. This is a great tool you can use with unusual whales. Just gives you a quick kind of overview of what's going on and how this looks. Well, look at here. 7/15/2022 expiration, similar time frame, not quite exact, to that June expiration. We had an $854,000 premium put on this 27 strike price call. That is absolutely great. Again, what we talked about earlier, lots of puts being sold. Yeah, sure, one bought, but hey, let's not worry about it at all. More of the story, the puts are being sold. The bottom, if it's not here, well, damn close to being in. If we look at highest open interest increase, we're going to obviously exclude this 1/21/2022 because, hey, that was today. I guess a lot of people were following some other people trying to go for $20. We didn't quite get there, but hey, it is what it is. Now, this is interesting because we saw that other very bullish call come in, $27 strike for 7/15. Another 7/15 $60 call. We had a 75% increase. Previous day volume was 3,000. Current open interest 7,705. That's very nice to see. Now, interesting enough, by percentage, with the open increase, nothing crazy here. I mean, look how low these numbers are. We have 13, 49. Sure, these are high percentile changes, but this does not mean a thing to me because of the open interest right here. Nonetheless, that is absolutely interesting. And that, obviously, guys, $60 calls. That's bullish as all hell. Now, let's quickly take a look at the S&P 500 because, as we've been talking, S&P 500 trades very closely to AMC. And, oh, come on now. Bear with me, folks. A lot of technical issues today. So, the SPY coming in with, all in all, pretty decent flow activity. Now, we didn't get quite the reversal with the SPY. Actually closed pretty close to the lows, or actually exactly at the lows of today. And it's just been beat to all hell. Now, getting some bullish flow certainly is going to help the case for AMC having the reversal in. I mean, lots of these puts were being sold, but what we talked about yesterday is a lot of those puts for the SPY were absolutely printing. So, necessarily speaking, seeing the calls for the SPY being sold isn't as bullish as AMC because AMC has really kind of ironed out at this level. I'll show you exactly what I mean. I mean, the SPY, we'll go to the 30-minute. SPY has just been on a tailspin. AMC has generally kind of flattened out. We're not really making as terrible of moves as the S&P 500 here. So that's why, as I said in yesterday's video, even though the S&P's 500 flow was bullish yesterday, I was still overall pretty bearish on how the SPY was going to move today. And that's exactly what we saw. I didn't think it was going to be 2%, I'll be honest with that. But nonetheless, that's what we got. And all in all, guys, that was pretty much, it was all about puts. A couple calls being purchased typically into end of day today for this 2/18/2022 expiration. Didn't mean to click that, but still overall low premiums. The largest premium, this $1 million put. Oh my God, this guy made a killing over here. But nonetheless, we'll jump into intraday analyst with the S&P 500. Wowza. Okay, so what you got for the absolute tip of the iceberg, large, big boys out there in the marketplace? Yeah, pretty freaking bearish. This right here, this was, 2/18/2022 expiration, 450 put, $16.8 million. That's, whew, damn. Sold the put, buy some puts, sell calls, sell put. Ah, man. If we're looking at big traders here, yeah, this is not what you want to see for the S&P 500 here. Highest open interest increase. Geez, tongue twister. Sorry, folks. Puts, mostly puts. We had a couple 460, 467, but puts are looking very, very bearish here. All in all, options flow for the SPY is not looking hot. So I'll leave you with this. It's going to be an interesting week next week. What I'm personally looking for, A, it's going to be the inflow of volume. B, it's going to be the breaking of correlation between the AMC and the S&P 500, because that's really when we start to get the massive moves, in my opinion. And look at this. Increased volume, end of day. Although we didn't get the push we wanted, that's still bullish. And for those of you who are actually still with me for this video, I want to do something interesting here. Holy shit. I haven't checked in a couple, wow. Okay. I haven't checked this since, like, 45 minutes ago, but we were literally at, like, 2,800 for Ethereum. Crypto is getting absolutely freaking destroyed here. Yeah, some pretty crazy stuff, and I think we've discussed it before, but when crypto likes to dump off, AMC and actually all the meme stocks like to run after that. So we'll see how this goes. I'm actually going to be hopefully connecting with someone this weekend to talk more about this stuff, just the correlations, but I mean Bitcoin. And by the way, I personally see this as a distribution schematic between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and various other cryptocurrencies. It's crazy because the prediction that I laid out, I actually started doing this over here in this territory. It's played out pretty damn good. So we'll see what happens with crypto, but nonetheless, I know what I'm going to be watching this weekend. All right, guys. Well, hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you all for wishing Carson a happy birthday. You have no idea how freaking happy that kid was. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the ongoing support. And honestly, you guys are the best. All right. Well, peace out. See you this weekend. Bye now.